Hey, it's Scott Brown with a P10 review of the PicoScope 4425A and PicoScope 7 software. I've been using PicoScope software and hardware for many years now. And just a few months ago, I started using the new PicoScope 4425A along with the PicoScope 7 software, and I have to tell you, it's pretty cool. But the big game changer here is the new BNC Plus probe that PicoScope offers. This probe has the standard BNC connection inside, but along the outside here you have power connections and you also have data connections. So if you're a user of current probes like I am, you'll be pleased to find out that you no longer have to continually put batteries in your tool. The power supply comes from the scope. It's pretty awesome. Second thing that happens through the data connection, since these are a smart connector, when you connect it and you're running the PicoScope 7 software, it will automatically configure the probe type for you. It'll automatically set up the scaling. You can then customize the scaling, but it'll set up the units for you automatically. Pretty cool. So I've got a few slides here that I want to show you where we've used it in the shop to diagnose real-world problems. So here's a problem we had with a throttle motor actuator, and we were able to quickly pick up a couple of anomalies doing a long sweep. But the thing I wanted to point out first is that if you look at the top left, you can now take the channels, click through, and custom name them. So this really helps. You can custom ID these. So here I've got TAC motor set, TP1, TP2, etc. So it really makes it very helpful when you're doing your analysis. And then of course, when we're done, we always like to collect a comparative waveform on the new component that we just replaced so we can prove out that we took care of the problem. Here's a vehicle that we had in. Complaint was intermittently the air conditioning does not work for the customer. On our first run at checking the system out, it seemed to be working just fine. So I decided to connect some investigative tools. So we used the scope and connected to the AC control valve at the back of the compressor. This is a clutchless system. And while monitoring the system, I suspected we had a problem with the AC control head. So I had an assistant go inside, tap on the control head, and intermittently I saw it drop out. So I hit the space bar. And the great thing about the PicoScope 7 software is that when you hit the space bar and you're recording multiple waveforms, you can now bring up the waveform panel and then scroll back through them and pull up the panel of interest. And then you can go through and analyze your data. Here's one that we use, the COP adapter. This is the TA398, very handy tool. We connected it and the current probe on a vehicle that had a PO303, and I went to each coil and with the trigger set up on cylinder number 3, and I just went to each one momentarily and grabbed a pattern, and you can see that cylinder number 3 had very low kV output. So we put a new coil on it, and that fixed the vehicle. Pretty awesome. Now here's one that was a real tough one. And this vehicle had been to multiple shops, and we had some timing issues. So one thing that the PicoScope 7 software has done is added some enhancements to the phase rulers. So here we're doing an in-cylinder compression waveform analysis along with checking some other timing signals. And when you set up your graduations in your panels, they now color code them. So it can help you with your analysis. Now, I mentioned that this was a real tough vehicle and we really needed a comparative waveform. So we went out to one of our favorite resources out there and we were able to pull down a waveform. And although it was captured in the PicoScope 6 software, we were able to open it up in the PicoScope 7 software with no problem. And this gave us a lot of clarity and helped to guide us to a solved problem. And then lastly, the PicoScope 7 software is in beta, and it's continually being improved. One of the things that I found the other day that was pretty interesting was that you can pull up a measurements panel and you can change the size of them so that they're displayed down at the lower part like this one is. So very helpful. So I hope that you found this interesting and useful. And if you have any questions or comments, just leave them below. And thanks for watching.